I'm Shatona Havoc.
I'm April Heyman.
And I'm C.R. Rowanson. We're here.
We're alive.
And we're writing.
Extra piece of information for you guys. I have a tattoo.
Ooh.
Did you know that? Well,
No.
I mean,
Yeah, I actually did know that.
Well, we only know that because this is a re-recording. But we didn't know that.
That's right.
The first
we're
time.
pretending we didn't know that. No, we had no idea, Clark.
Wow, really?
well, let me tell you. Actually, so I never thought I would be much of a tattoo person, which is funny because my wife loves tattoos. But the big thing for me is I wanted a tattoo that meant something to me. And then one day, just this tattoo came out of my mind with all sorts of layers of meaning. And I can go into one of them here, which relates to the topic of this episode.
Yay.
So my tattoo is actually made up of 4 lines, and I use that as different tiers of meaning and guidance in my life. And the 4th tier relates to a book called The 4 Agreements. And the 4 agreements are: don't take anything personally, never make assumptions, be true to your word, and most importantly, always do your best. And that is what we wanted to talk about today, is the importance of always doing your best.
Nice segue.
I am not
You're
singing.
welcome.
Yeah, this practice is paying off.
Yeah, right? I tell ya.
Or so the voices in my head say.
Well, you know what? They were talking to the voices in my head, and now my head is scared.
And now mine speaks French. So.
Ooh, I wish mine did. That makes me feel like, Emperor's New Groove. Have you ever watched it in French?
No.
It's really fun. Kronk. Oui.
Apparently it's really funny in Russian, too.
Oh, really? I bet. Da.
So, what do you mean by always doing your best? I'm bringing it back around here.
Hey, somebody has to keep us on topic. Score! High five!
Always doing your best seems pretty explanatory, right? Right up until you start getting really upset because one day you didn't do your best, or it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be. So the core of...
Or as good as yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the core of always do your best, or I suppose an addendum, is the importance of understanding what your best means.
So you have to define that for yourself, or do you use somebody else's definition?
So it's important about defining it for yourself. So
I
the
agree.
real important thing about doing your best is understanding that the best you can do right now is not the same as the best you have done ever.
Right. Or will ever do.
That is the heart of making this something useful rather than something painful that you use to beat up yourself every single day.
Yeah, it changes from day to day.
Right, and that is the important takeaway here, is to understand that what you do now, you can try as hard as you want, but your performance today may not be as good as it was yesterday. And that's okay, because you did your best. That's the point of the 4 agreements. As long as you do your best, that should bring you some peace.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents never got that when I was a kid. I remember coming home from school and my mom would be looking at it going, you can do better than this. I'm like, Mom, I gave it everything I had. I just, maybe I didn't sleep as well. Maybe my brain was still stuck on science and I'm doing math. I don't know. But there were times that I would just come home and she would see it and she'd be like, you can do better than this. And I'd be like, no, I could. They never understood that. And
Right.
as a teenager, I understood that my best varied from day to day.
Right.
I remember coming home with 98% on a test.
Mm-hmm.
I was excited because it was a hard test. And my mom's like, why wasn't it 100?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Mom, I got a 98 on this test. I can't believe it. Came home with 100 the next day on something else. And her response was, why aren't they all hundreds?
Yeah.
Oh.
I try not to do that to my kids.
Yeah, I probably went overboard the other direction. It's like, you did it. Score!
You completed the test.
We are...
That's important. I think this is especially important to any artist.
Yes, I agree.
Music, dance,
Writing.
Yeah,
Painting.
whatever. It's
Whatever
important
it
to
is.
be able to understand that because you're going to have off days.
Yeah.
Yes, and some days, and sometimes there'll be streaks of really bad off days.
Yeah. They do come in batches. I have noticed that.
Yeah. Like for myself, when I have a flare, I just can't write. I mean,
Well, you usually end up bedridden for at least a day, right?
yeah, for at least a day, a couple of days, and then when I'm up and when I am up, I can't sit at the computer that long.
And you're
Yeah.
catching,
And then
you're catching up from being on.
Right.
So when you sit down, you've got this. I would imagine it would if it was me. I would have this intense. I've got to. I should have been doing
Yeah.
this, and so my brain is not focusing on what I'm doing
Right.
at the keyboard. My brain is going, yeah, but I didn't get the bathroom clean because I was in bed, and I didn't get the grocery
Yeah.
shopping done. You know.
Right. And then I have memory fog. So one of the symptoms or signs of rheumatoid arthritis or any autoimmune disorder is something called memory fog. And it's literally you can't remember anything. So that's why I write everything down. There will be times when I can't remember people's names, or there'll be a word on the tip of my tongue that I use all the time, and I won't be able to say it. So that's why I sound like I stutter a lot. I don't stutter. It's like I literally can't think of the words because my mind there's like a blank wall there. It really is awful.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
Man.
it is not fun to deal with that because I'm a highly intelligent person. I'm pretty smart, right?
Yeah.
So, but I sound stupid because I can't think of the words. I didn't always used to be this way. So, it's hard. It's hard to transition from.
And that would
being
irritate
normal.
you, which would make it even harder.
Yes, and it does. It
Yeah,
irritates me
you know,
horribly.
just it becomes a cycle.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough for me. Like, I'm just getting over being sick again. And being sick is really, really hard for me because just what you guys are talking about. I feel I should be doing things. And if I'm not careful, it's something I've gotten better at, but I'm still not great. I will push too hard and then I will backslide. That's what happened this last time. I was getting better, and then I just jumped into a full day of doing stuff and proceeded to have a night praying to the porcelain gods.
Yes.
Not good.
No.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, you rebounded is what happened.
It's like I don't know, rebound sounds positive to me.
Yeah, but
Oh,
think about relationships on the rebound. They're never good.
all I can think of is basketball, you know? If you
Yeah.
rebound it, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But-
Okay, all right. You see, we'll give that one a shot. A few years ago, it's probably been 10 now. It feels like yesterday, but it's been a long time. I found this really cool budgeting thing. And it was like by donation only. And for some reason, I couldn't get PayPal to work. Or I needed to write a check. I think I needed to write a check. Anyway, that method doesn't matter. The point is that I wanted to pay. It was by donation. I wanted to pay it. And I asked the person, would you please remind me to send you some money? And his response to me was, if it's a priority for you, you'll remember. And I took that in.
Jerk.
I did. I just took it in. And I remember thinking, he's right. That's if it's important to you, you'll make it a priority. You'll do it. I mean, it sounds so good
Right.
on the surface. And I took that in, and I was really feeling bad when, like, 6 weeks or 6 months, I don't remember how long it was now. My brain is just not working with me on this, but I remember going, I never sent him. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. No. I can forget to eat. I can forget to send a birthday card to my mother. I can forget a lot of things that are really important to me. That isn't true. My best on one day might be to send it right away. My best on another day might be just to wake up.
Not related to it at all.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
That's the best you got.
Yeah, this is what you got out of me. And there are too many things, but we get these ideas in our head. And the point of this, of course, isn't that, well, it's a priority. No, the point is that we can take these things that we hear about doing your best or doing, having your priorities in order and what all these things, and we can take them in as if they're true. But just because someone says something doesn't mean it's true.
That's a really good point.
And so when you're talking about like doing your best,
Yeah,
there's a lot of sayings about, if it's worth doing right. If it's...
Yeah. So that's actually another very important point. So with doing your best, this is something one of the many things I've had to work on lately is dealing with the priority management, because there's your absolute best that you can do, and then there's the best that you can do for the energy you're allowing yourself to sink into it.
Yeah.
We did our best this year.
We did.
This is my segue, by the way. My segue to the spotlight. It was a really bad segue. Sorry.
We're saying, you know what? Because we did do our best.
We did do our
really
best.
did.
We got a lot of great stuff done. Even redoing this.
Yes. And because a lot of that was due to you, our dear listeners, we're doing a contest and we are giving away 2 packages. One is an e-package, like an electronic package, right? And the other one is a physical package.
Neither of them are a virus.
No,
No.
they're special. We love you. We would never give you a virus.
No, we've watched him. He's sick. We don't want
wouldn't
another
do
one.
that to you. So there's a lot of good stuff in both, like fountain pens, journals. There's an anthology. There's a bunch of other stuff. But you need to go to our website. It's going to be linked down in the show notes. Read our rules and go ahead and enter. The last day to enter is December 2nd. We're going to announce the winner Sunday, December 3rd at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which would be 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to announce it live on
Facebook, I think is what it is.
Yes.
And there is a lot of cool stuff in there. We spent quite a bit of time putting these packages together for you guys because you're awesome.
Yay!
Yeah. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, you guys are going to really like it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I don't know. All in all, I think that was a pretty good segue until we started destroying it again.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
We do our best.
All right, we do our... Okay, I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to do it. I bet everybody listening is singing in their heads right now.
Yes.
If they've ever watched Beauty and the Beast, they are singing in their heads right now.
And if you weren't, you are now.
Because we do our best to ensure that you do.
Exactly.
Right. Freeze Ray. So what I was talking about with how much energy you're willing to put in. This is something really important I want to bring up, especially if you are in a position like April or I, where you have a full-time job. You are trying to write and you want to transition to writing full-time. This is really important because you are going to reach a stage that was really painful for me to go through where your full-time job doesn't get 100%. It just doesn't. I can't go work for 9 hours at 100% and come home and still be able to write. And it was painful for me just because of how I'm wired to always do my best, rah, rah, rah. I had to come to understand that my best had to change so that I could do the other things that were important to me.
So how did you determine what your best was going to be?
A lot of trial and error. And, since it's not a video game, which, by the way, if I actually had a superpower, it would be to instantly be able to gamify all of life so that I just had stats for everything.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Right? So, you write a short story and it's like, 500 XP. You do it again. Oh, only 200 XP. I must have done something wrong. That would be awesome. Anyway. So
I have no idea what he's talking about, but it sounds really cool.
just a lot of trial and error. And it just, I don't know. I still struggle with it all the time. And the other way that came up is I have several passions in my life. One of them is martial arts. I have been doing martial arts for a decade now, and it's always been really important to me. The style I'm training in now is really awesome and really cool stuff. It speaks deeply to what I think is important about martial arts. But it was also really challenging me emotionally because that's what, in my opinion, martial arts needs to have a spiritual aspect, and it was really putting me through the ringer spiritually. And I had to come to the decision recently, I don't have enough energy to push myself through all of the struggles of writing and still deal with the struggles of martial arts.
Ouch. Yeah.
Which sucks. But at the end of the day, I can't quit my day job yet, and writing is a priority over martial arts. And that's what I had to do.
So you have
So to do your best in writing, you had to choose not to do martial arts for a while?
I had to balance some priorities.
Yeah.
And it still sucks. It still hurts talking about it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Moment of silence for Clark's martial arts.
it's not dead. It is on hiatus.
It's just in an induced coma.
Yeah. So you're gonna go through stuff like that, and I hope it's not as painful.
And you know what? Now, I was thinking about this in terms of writing when we were, brainstorming this session. But you know what? We talked about how taking a break and pulling back and relaxing is not failing. Well, the same is true with your martial arts. Taking a break from that doesn't mean that you've just abandoned it or you failed as a martial artist or whatever. It's just literally taking a break, and that's okay.
And that's what Rachel always says. She's like, just because you take a break, that muscle memory isn't just going to flee into the ether. It's not going to. But anyway, so that...
And your ether is super cool. So, I mean, at least if it does that, it'll come back with some sort of superpower or something.
That example got longer than I meant it to be. But my point is, it can be painful. If you guys are dealing with something like that, I would actually really like to know. Because if you need someone to talk to, please let me know. I'm willing to help you with this how I can, because that sucked.
And he means it.
I do mean it. But anyway, continuing on. That's priorities.
Right. So if you've done better before, okay, so say you had a really good day or you had a really good streak of writing,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly you're not writing as well. How can you reconcile that with previous writing experience? Like you did great before, but now you're not. So
That's a really good question.
why is your best not as good as it was? You know what I'm saying? So
are you asking about analyzing why your best dropped, or are you talking about just being okay with your best suddenly dropping?
yes.
Both?
Okay.
Well, I was thinking about your RA. Before you had RA, were you more active?
Yes, I was.
So how have you reconciled the fact that you cannot do what you could do before?
Question flip.
Does that mean that you are somehow less than now? No.
No. I
It
wish
means
I could be more active.
Well, of
though.
course you do. But there's nothing wrong with the fact that you can't. You haven't
Okay.
chosen not to be.
Right.
And so the same would be true of your ability to do what you did before, whether it was writing or playing a piano or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. If you can't, you can't. You take what you can and you do the best with what you can.
So basically, you have to learn to accept. If your best shifts because of something radical like that, sounds, or like with your the RA,
Yes.
or with the martial arts, I guess that's something you just have to work through to learn to accept it. If it's just a random drop, you can sit down and you can try and analyze what's
Right.
changing, why you're...
Were you sick that day? Did you stay up too late? Did you have one too many
Maybe
beers?
there's...
And you're just tired.
Or were
Yeah.
you just tired?
You know,
Maybe
you
need a
burned
break.
out.
Maybe you need a retreat.
Yes,
maybe
right?
you need a retreat.
And we have lots of information about that.
Yes, we do.
But I mean, and sometimes I think you once you've looked at it all and you've realized that, maybe you don't know why. Sometimes you just have to accept the fact. I have this motto. It's a big deal for me. But I always say perfect is not without flaw. Perfect is done. Sometimes being done is sufficient.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was Voltaire who said, or he made it popular, the phrase, perfect is the enemy of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I like yours better, though.
Yeah, it's what I needed for my brain, because I will be a perfectionist if I allow myself to be. I've had to train that out of me.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why it's always do your best and not
No,
always be
do-
perfect.
Right.
Yes, that's a really good point. And with that, we're at time. So,
solid
I know.
close.
Woohoo! So, we're actually coming up to the end of chapter 1. So, this is a reminder to go to our website and sign up for the contest. And we have one more episode, and then we're into NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
Yay!
Woo, Nano.
It
Yeah.
is my friend.
So, that's it,
And then we'll be back in January after Nano.
right? With chapter 2.
And we've got some amazing stuff planned for chapter 2.
it's-
I am so excited about chapter
It'll
2. I
be
can't
awesome.
It's
stand
going to
it.
be great. So, this has been Alive in Writing. Sometimes that's all you've got, but it's all you really need. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye!